It's possible to project textures in SketchUp, and this can create a more convincing texture on a curved object such as this vase. To see how this works, we'll start by designing a new texture in Photoshop and then bringing it into SketchUp and placing it on this box. And then we'll use the box to help us project the texture onto the vase. So I'll switch over to Photoshop, and just to make a unique texture, I'll use the gradient adjustment layer, and you can do this in any number of ways. I'm just going to show you one method. I'll change the gradient library to noise samples. And these give us more complex types of gradients. I'll choose this one. That looks nice. I'll go ahead and flatten the image to turn it into pixels, and then I'll save it, and I'll just call it gradient, and I'll save it as a Photoshop document on the desktop. Going back to SketchUp, I'll create a new texture using that same file that I just saved. I'll click OK to take the default size. Select the texture and assign it to this surface. If I apply the material directly to the vase, this is the result. It wraps around in a circle according to the way that the vase was modeled with the Follow Me tool. I'm after a different look here, so I'll undo, and then I'll move this edge back to create an inclined plane. Then right-click on the surface and choose Texture, Projected. Press B to activate the paint bucket, and hold down the Command key for the eyedropper. Click on the surface to sample it as a projected texture. Click on the vase and you get a different result. It's projecting according to the surface normal, that is perpendicular to this surface. Geometry that you pull out of a projected surface will itself have projected textures on it. So for example, if I create a rectangle on this surface and then push-pull it out, you'll see that the texture runs around on all sides. Here there's a green, and that green is streaking across the top. The texture on the sides wraps around. The texture on the bottom comes from the pixels on this lowest edge. I'll undo. This time, let's make this a non-projected texture by unchecking that setting. And I'll create a rectangle on the surface and pull it out. We get a different result. It looks a little bit odd. So you'll get the best results when you use projected textures if you're creating objects that extrude outward from existing faces.